Hey everyone, summer is just around the corner, and if you're like us, you might be looking for a few ways to save a few bucks while enjoying the great outdoors. So today we're going to be sharing 20 of our favorite outdoor adventures in Florida that are completely free as of May 2026. These are all experiences that we have personally experienced ourselves that we can vouch for. This list is not meant to be a ranking, it's meant to give you a few ideas of free things to do when planning your next outdoor adventure. Let's start off with a couple of amazing wildlife drives. Sometimes you want to enjoy the great outdoors, but also don't want to leave the comfort of the AC in your car, especially during the hot summer months here in Florida. And you can do just that here at the Apopka Wildlife Drive. The Apopka Wildlife Drive is located in Apopka, Florida, which is about 15 miles northwest of Orlando. This is an 11-mile one-way drive along Lake Apopka's north shore and is one of the best places to see alligators and Florida wildlife in the wild. The Apopka North Shore is considered one of the most renowned birding destinations in Florida, with 377 different bird species recorded on property. There are designated pullouts along the way where you're able to stop and take photos. The drive typically takes about 1 to 3 hours depending on how many stops you choose to make along the way. Just keep in mind that the Wildlife Drive is only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and federal holidays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., and all vehicles have to exit by 5 p.m. So definitely double check the hours before you make the drive out there. If you want to turn this into even more of an outdoor adventure, the drive also connects with the Lake Apopka Trail System, where you can hike or bike along the North Shore. So you can enjoy this one from car, on foot, or on bike. For our next wildlife drive, we're heading down to the heart of South Florida for the Big Cypress Loop Road Scenic Drive. This scenic drive is located inside Big Cypress National Preserve off the Tamiami Trail and runs south of the main highway through a more remote section of the preserve. This is a 24-mile scenic drive through cypress swamp, sawgrass prairie, hardwood hammocks, and some of the more rugged landscapes of Big Cypress Preserve. This is also one of the best free outdoor adventures in South Florida for wildlife viewing. Along the drive, you'll want to keep an eye out for alligators, great blue herons, turtles, wading birds, and plenty of other wildlife that call this area home. There are also several spots where you can safely pull off, take photos, and take in the scenery. The road is paved in some sections and gravel in others, and some areas can get a little rough or wet depending on the season. The dry season is usually the better time to visit because there will be fewer bugs, cooler temperatures, and more active wildlife. Plus, there are a few hiking trails along the way, like the shorter Tree Snail Hammock Trail or the longer Gator Hook Trail. This is actually a former logging tram road that you can hike in the dry season and becomes a swampy wet walk during the wet season. Big Cypress National Preserve itself is open 24 hours a day, but we would recommend doing this either early in the morning around sunrise or the evening before sunset for the best chance to see wildlife. Florida is also known for its amazing natural springs, and there are a few that are completely free to visit. First, there is Green Springs. Green Springs is located in Enterprise, Florida, about 40 minutes north of Orlando. This is a smaller park, but it's a really unique one because Green Springs is one of Florida's very few green sulfur springs. This gives the spring a vibrant green color, and while you can't swim here, it is still a really beautiful place to visit and walk around. The park covers 31 acres and has several paved and natural nature trails that are definitely worth doing. We were surprised by just how jungle-like it felt in the areas along these trails. In addition to the springs and nature trails, there's also a playground and a picnic pavilions. Green Springs is also a trailhead for the Spring to Spring Trail. When it's completed, this trail will be 26 miles long, connecting De Leon Springs to Gemini Springs and Green Springs. Just 4 miles down the road from Green Springs is Gemini Springs, and this spring is another one that is free to park and visit. This park is built around 2 springs that flow into a small spring run, which eventually connects towards Lake Monroe and a St. Johns River. The water here is beautiful, but just like Green Springs, this is not a swimming spring. This is more of a scenic nature park where you can walk, relax, picnic, and enjoy the spring views from the shoreline. Spring 1 is a small 8-inch well. It was deepened and now flows from a large horizontal cavern into the limestone. Spring 2 is about 100 feet away and flows from a smaller cavern under a rock ledge. This park is a lot bigger than Green Springs at 210 acres. Gemini Springs has about 5 miles of paved and unpaved trails, including some boardwalk sections, picnic areas, playgrounds, and a fishing pier. Now, let's go over a few great free places to see Florida wildlife in the wild. Circle B Bar Reserve is one of the best places that we've found to see alligators and birds in the wild. Circle B Bar Reserve is located in Lakeland, Florida, along the northwest shore of Lake Hancock. This 1,267-acre reserve was once a cattle ranch, but today it has been restored into a beautiful natural area filled with wetlands, marshes, oak hammocks, lake views, and wildlife. It's especially known for its bird watching and is a part of the Great Florida Birding and Wildlife Trail, so if you love spotting birds and animals, this is definitely a great place to find them. There are several trails throughout the reserve. The most popular trail here is Alligator Alley, which runs along Lake Hancock and definitely lives up to its name. It's one of the best spots to see alligators, wading birds, turtles, and during our visit, we even saw a few bald eagles perching overhead in the trees. There are public tram tours offered on Tuesdays through Fridays, but you do have to make reservations online ahead of time through Eventbrite. Circle B is free to visit, and if you're looking for a free outdoor adventure that really delivers on wildlife, this is one of the best in Central Florida. Another great spot to see wildlife for free is the Orlando Wetlands. Orlando Wetlands is a mini Everglades located in Christmas, Florida, about 30 to 40 minutes east of Orlando. The park covers around 1,650 acres and was created to help naturally treat reclaimed water before it flows towards the St. Johns River. And it has become an incredible habitat for wildlife. As you explore the trails and wetland roads, you can spot alligators, wading birds, turtles, butterflies, and sometimes even deer, otters, and bobcats. One of the biggest highlights here is the Cypress Boardwalk. This is a 2,200-foot boardwalk that takes you through a beautiful cypress area and gives you an up-close look at the wetlands. There are also miles of trails and berm roads where you can walk or bike. Orlando Wetlands also offers a free tram tour from May to October on Fridays and Saturdays only. And from November to April, it is offered daily. They do not do reservations and are first come, first serve only. Parking, admission, and the tram tours are all free, and the park is open Tuesday through Sunday from sunrise to sunset. It is closed on Mondays. The visitor center is open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you're visiting Florida during the cooler months, this next stop is one you definitely want to add to your list. The TECO Manatee Viewing Center is located on Apollo Beach, Florida, along Tampa Bay at Tampa Electric's Big Bend Power Station. The TECO Manatee Viewing Center is one of the best free seasonal wildlife experiences in Florida. This is a one-of-a-kind place where the cooler the weather gets, the better your chances are of seeing manatees gather together in the warm water. During the winter months, manatees are drawn to the warm water discharge canal near the power station, and the viewing center gives you a safe and easy way to see them from the boardwalks and observation areas. There's also more to do here than just look at the manatees. You can walk the 900-foot tidal walkway, visit the education center, explore the habitat trails, and take in the views from the wildlife observation tower. You can easily spend an hour or two here, especially if you visit on a cooler day when the manatees are more active. The Manatee Viewing Center is free to visit, and parking is free too. It's open seasonally from November 1st through April 15th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., with trails closing at 4 p.m. Just keep in mind that pets are not allowed, and it's closed on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. Hontoon Island State Park is one of the most unique state parks in Central Florida because just getting there feels like part of the adventure. This is not a park that you could simply drive to. You do have to take a boat or the park ferry to cross the St. Johns River. Hontoon Island State Park is located near DeLand, Florida, along the St. Johns River. This park sits on 1,650-acre island surrounded by St. Johns River, Hontoon Island Dead River, and Snake Creek. Once you arrive, you'll find a quiet, peaceful park with hiking trails, picnic areas, and river views. The island has evidence of Native American habitation going back thousands of years, and the main hiking trail leads to an ancient shell mound. One of the best parts is the ferry is free, which usually operates daily from 8 a.m. until 1 hour before sunset. You can also access the island by private boat, kayak, or canoe. Hontoon Island is great if you want a quieter outdoor adventure with a little bit of hiking, history, river scenery, and that classic old Florida feel. Just keep in mind that there is no swimming here, so this is more of a slow, scenic island escape than a water play day. Now that we've covered some easier boardwalks, scenic drives, and wildlife viewing areas, let's move on to great free places to hike. First up is probably our favorite hike in Florida, Black Bear Wilderness Area. Black Bear Wilderness Area is located in Sanford, Florida, along St. Johns River, about 23 miles north of Orlando. This is a 1,600-acre wilderness area with a roughly 7-mile loop trail that takes you through a hardwood hammock, cypress swamp, marsh, and riverside habitats. The full hike typically takes about 3 to 4 hours, so this one you'll want to plan for, especially if you're visiting during the warmer months. You'll hike across boardwalks, pass through shady swamp sections, and get views of St. Johns River along the way. And like the name suggests, this area is a habitat for Florida black bears, along with white-tailed deer, wading birds, and plenty of other wildlife. They're also known for their population of wild pigs that live here, and we were lucky enough to see a few of them during our last hike. This trail is free to visit, but not one I would recommend doing unprepared. For all of these hikes on our list, you want to make sure that you bring plenty of water, wear good shoes, check the weather, and expect mud, roots, bugs, and possible trail flooding depending on the season. If you're looking for a free hike near Orlando that actually feels like an adventure, Black Bear Wilderness Area is a great one. For our next adventure, we're heading over to the Ocala National Forest to hike the St. Francis Trail. The trailhead for this hike is located in DeLand, Florida, which is about 50 miles north of Orlando. The Ocala National Forest has a few free trails to explore, but the one that we have done and really enjoyed was the St. Francis Trail. This hike gives you a good mix of nature and history. The trail works its way through floodplain forest habitats along the St. Francis Dead River and eventually leads toward the ghost town of St. Francis, which was once a river port along the St. Johns River. There is both a 3-mile loop and a 7-mile loop option, so you can choose a shorter hike or make it more of a half-day adventure. Along the way, you'll hike through classic Ocala National Forest scenery with pine forests, wetlands, hardwood hammocks, and river floodplain areas. The full route is about 7.9 miles and follows the southeast edge of the forest near the St. Johns River. And just like at Black Bear, you'll definitely want to bring plenty of water, wear good shoes, and be prepared for bugs, mud, and impossible wet sections depending on the season. But if you want a free hike with quiet forest scenery, old Florida history, and a little bit of mystery, St. Francis Trail is a really interesting one to add to the list. Now we're heading over to the Tibet Butler Nature Preserve, and this hike is a great option if you're here visiting the theme parks. The Tibet Butler Nature Preserve is located in Windermere, Florida, and is just 4 miles from Disney World. This is a 440-acre nature preserve with several short hikes that wind through pine flatwoods, bayhead swamp, cypress forest, and scrub habitat. It's a great way to escape into nature, and you forget how close you are to the theme parks. The trail system is made up of shorter loops, so you can customize your visit depending on how much time you have. You can do a quick walk or combine multiple trails for a longer hike. In total, there's about 3.6 miles of trails to explore. Along the way, you'll find boardwalk sections, sandy paths, lake views, and plenty of opportunities to spot birds, turtles, butterflies, and other wildlife. There's also a nature center on site, which can be a nice stop before or after your hike. This preserve is a great option if you want a free outdoor adventure near Orlando that doesn't quite require a long drive or a full-day commitment. Tibet Butler Nature Preserve is free to visit and park. It is open daily from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and since this is a preserve, make sure to stay on the trails, leave pets at home, and help protect the wildlife and habitats that make this place so special. Next on our list is the Disney Wilderness Preserve. And despite its name, this is not a Disney theme park experience. The Disney Wilderness Preserve is located in Point Siena, Florida, about 20 miles south of Walt Disney World. The preserve is managed by the Nature Conservatory and protects more than 11,000 acres of restored wetlands, pine flatwoods, oak hammocks, and native Florida habitat. There are hiking trails where you can look for wildlife, enjoy open prairie views, and experience a peaceful side of Central Florida. It's also a great spot for bird watching with species like bald eagles, sandhill cranes, wood storks, and woodpeckers found in the area. There are 4 different trail loops available here, ranging from only a half-mile loop all the way up to a 5.3-mile loop. The most interesting part of the hike is definitely the lake views, about half a mile from the start of the trailhead. The majority of the rest of the hike is mainly open scrub and pine flatwoods. The preserve is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 and is closed on most major holidays. After Disney Wilderness Preserve, we're staying in the Kissimmee area for another free outdoor adventure that feels a lot more tucked away than you might expect. Shingle Creek Regional Park is located in Kissimmee, Florida, about 10 miles from Walt Disney World. This park protects part of Shingle Creek, which is considered the northernmost headwaters of the Everglades. So even though you're right near one of the busiest tourist corridors in Central Florida, this area gives you a small glimpse of the natural system that eventually flows south towards the Everglades. There are a few different areas to explore here. The area that we hiked was at the Steffi Landing, an historical Steffi homestead section, which has a 1.3-mile trail with shaded boardwalks, creek views, and historic homesteads. It's not a long hike, but it's a beautiful and scenic walk with a nice mix of nature and local history. The boardwalk sections are probably the highlight, especially if you enjoy shaded trails, cypress trees, and peaceful creek views. You can also find bike trails and kayak access in the area, although rentals and paddling would of course cost an extra fee. Shingle Creek Regional Park is free to visit and is open daily from dawn to dusk unless otherwise posted. Next on our list is Palm Island Park. This is located in Mount Dora, Florida, along Lake Dora waterfront, which is just about 30 miles north of Orlando. This is a small nature park with a beautiful boardwalk that takes you through a shaded wetland. Along the boardwalk, you'll be able to see alligators, birds, turtles, and other wildlife. The boardwalk is about a third of a mile long, but it connects to Nature Trail, which loops through the cypress and oak hammock and back around to the start of the trailhead. The total loop is about 1 mile long. This short hike is great to pair with the Mount Dora Lighthouse, which is a very short walk away at Grantham Point Park. This 35-foot tall lighthouse is one of the most recognizable spots in Mount Dora and is the only inland freshwater lighthouse in Florida. Palm Island Park is open daily from 7:30 a.m. to sunset. Just about 5 miles down the road from Palm Island Park is another great free hike, and this one truly is a hidden gem. Hidden Waters Preserve is located in Eustis, Florida, not far from downtown Mount Dora. This preserve is not huge, just 90 acres, but what makes it so interesting is the terrain. Central Florida is usually pretty flat, but Hidden Waters has hills, boardwalks, shaded trails, and a large sinkhole lake in the middle of the preserve, and it feels very different from a lot of other hikes in the area. The Manatee Trail loops around Lake Alfred, which sits down inside the sinkhole, and along the way you'll find overlooks, shady paths, and some elevation change that you don't usually get in Florida. It's still a short hike, but it definitely feels like more of an adventure because of the landscape. There's a total of about 3 miles of trails and about 105 feet elevation change down to the lake. This is also a nice place for wildlife watching, especially birds, turtles, and smaller animals around the water and wooded areas. Because it's a smaller preserve, it's easy to visit in just under an hour, or you can take your time and enjoy the different viewpoints. Hidden Waters Preserve is free to visit and is open daily from 8 a.m. to sunset. After hiking a sinkhole, let's do another unique adventure where you can explore some caves on the Dames Cave Trail. The Dames Cave Trail is located in Citrus County, Florida, which is about an hour north of Tampa. And this is a part of the Citrus Tract in the Withlacoochee State Forest. This is a short hike, but it feels really unique because it's one of the few places in Central Florida where you can explore caves. The main highlight here is Dames Cave, which is one of the more accessible caves in the area. There is a rugged slope that leads down into the cave, which is fairly easy, but you should still be careful around the openings and rocks and roots that can be a bit slippery. There are also smaller caves that you can also squeeze into and explore, including the Peace Cave. However, we were not that adventurous and stuck to exploring the main one at Dames Cave. Dames Cave Trail is open from sunrise to sunset and is also free to visit, but I'd recommend wearing sturdy shoes, bring water, and avoid the area after heavy rain. And of course, use your best judgment and don't climb into anything that doesn't feel safe. After exploring caves, sinkholes, and forest trails, let's switch over to the National Park Service sites. There are a few parks all over the state that are run by the National Park Services that are completely free to visit. Our next stop offers a mix of coastal scenery, short trails, and Florida history all in one free visit. The Soto National Memorial is located in Bradenton, Florida, near the mouth of the Manatee River where it meets Tampa Bay. This is a smaller National Park Service site, but it's a really interesting one if you want something that combines nature and history. The memorial shares a story of Hernando de Soto's 1539 expedition and the impact that it had on indigenous people who were already living in this region. This is a short nature trail that takes you through mangroves, coastal habitat, and waterfront views along the Manatee River. It's a short walk at only 1 mile, but it's very scenic, especially if you enjoy places where history and nature overlap. Depending on when you visit, you may also find living history programs, museum exhibits, or ranger-led activities that help bring the site's story to life. But even without that, it's still a peaceful place to walk, take in the water views, and learn a little more about Florida's past. The DeSoto National Memorial is free to visit and is open from 9 a.m. to 4:30. During our visit, the main visitor center was still closed due to hurricane damage, but there's a small information tent set up for park brochures and national park passport stamps if you're a collector of those. Another great National Park Service hidden gem is the Timucuan Ecological and Historical Preserve. This is located in Jacksonville, Florida, near the St. Johns River and Atlantic coast. This preserve protects thousands of acres of salt marsh, coastal wetlands, hardwood hammocks, and historic sites. It's one of those places where you can experience both Florida's natural beauty and some of the deeper history of the region in the same visit. There are several different areas where you can explore, but the main 2 stops are Fort Caroline National Memorial and the Kingsley Plantation. The Fort Caroline area is a replica of the historic Fort Caroline and has a visitor center that shares the story of the short-lived French presence in Florida in the 1500s. There are several nature trails to explore, including a short 1.5-mile hammock trail loop, a 2.8-mile loop around a Spanish pond, and a 2-mile Willie Brown Trail. While on the northern side of the park, Kingsley Plantation gives a look into a more complicated history of plantation life, enslavement, and the people who lived and worked there. Timucuan Preserve is a huge area and it is free to visit, though some individual areas may have different hours, so it's worth checking before you go. Many people know of the famous Castillo de San Marcos in St. Augustine, Florida, but not a lot of people are aware of a smaller fort that was built just 14 miles down the Matanzas River. Fort Matanzas National Monument is located south of St. Augustine, Florida, along the Matanzas River and is also a part of the National Park Service. This site protects the historic Fort Matanzas, a small Spanish watchtower built in the 1700s to guard the southern approach to St. Augustine. What makes this one especially fun is that the fort itself is located across the river on Rattlesnake Island, so you take a short ferry ride to reach it. The ferry ride is free, but you do need to get a boarding pass from the visitor center before going over. Once you arrive, you can explore the fort, learn more about Spanish colony history, and take in beautiful views of the surrounding marsh, river, and barrier island landscape. There is also a short nature trail on the mainland side, plus picnic areas and scenic views near the visitor center. Fort Matanzas is free to visit, including the ferry, but the ferry does not run on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. The hours are from 9 a.m. to 5:30 daily except for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Ferry boarding passes are issued for free at the visitor center and must be picked up in person on a first-come, first-served basis. There are no reservations. This is a great stop if you want a free National Park Service adventure near St. Augustine with a little history, a little nature, and a free boat ride built into the visit. For our final free adventure, we're heading down south of Miami to Homestead, Florida for Biscayne National Park. Biscayne National Park is one of the few national parks with no entry fee all year round. Most of the park is in the waters of Biscayne Bay. However, you can access the mainland attractions for free as well. You'll be able to park and access Dante Faso Visitor Center at Convoy Point. The visitor center here has a small museum with informational exhibits about the park as well as a small art gallery. You can also enjoy a short hike down the jetty alongside a mangrove-lined shoreline and offers some fantastic views of the bay. It's a great spot to look for birds, fish, and other coastal wildlife. On a clear day, you can even see the Miami skyline in the distance across the bay. If you have a more flexible budget, there are also great tours that take you into the waters of Biscayne to see some of the more famous sites of the park, but those are not free and are managed by the Biscayne National Park Institute. Some of the sites that you can see on the tours include the iconic Stiltsville, Boca Chica Canet's Lighthouse and Trails, paddle through some mangroves, and you can even book a tour to snorkel coral reefs. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to get more ideas for unique experiences in Florida. We also want to give a huge shout out to our channel members. You guys help keep this channel going and we couldn't appreciate you more. If you would like to support what we do here and get exclusive emotes, early access to our videos, and more, click the link in the video description for more details. And if you're looking for our theme park content, be sure to check out our second channel called The Q Life, where you can find all of our Disney and Universal videos and guides. If you would like to see a list of our favorite paddle runs in Florida, then you'll want to check out the video that just popped up on the screen. We'll see you over there.